Hi, everyone. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy weekend, or starting of the weekend. I hope you guys had a good day, and I bet you guys are ready for the weekend. Well, I decided to hop on here for our Q&A with Dr. Mercy to talk about this wonderful challenge that will be starting next month, and that is the 2023 Water Challenge. So, as a physician who admits patients to the hospital on a rather frequent basis, I've observed that a lot of conditions that cause people to come to the hospital could have been prevented if they just drank enough water. From recurrent urinary tract infections to kidney infections to even passing out and straight up dehydration. A lot of these conditions could have been prevented as long as they would have drank the adequate amounts of water. So I decided, we're kicking off 2023 with a great start by starting to focus on our health. Let's take control of our health. And one way to do it is to make sure we get adequate amounts of water. So, this 2023 challenge, we're going to start it. I'm thinking mid January, but I will definitely give you the details as we get closer to the date. And it'll be every day making sure that we drink enough adequate water. Okay. And we'll do this for several weeks. And at the end, whoever is able to continue to the end will get a reward. All right. So I think this is great start to your health, great start to taking control of your health, and I'm super excited to start this challenge. Now, if you're interested in joining this challenge, please email me at waterchallenge2023 at gmail.com. Again, it's waterchallenge2023 at gmail.com. Write your name, write your age, and as soon as we get closer to the actual challenge, I will be contacting you. I'm super excited. Join with me, join with our community. Let's get our control back of our health. Let's take our control back. Let's get more health focus this 2023. Are you with me? I hope you are. Again, if you are going to join, please email me at waterchallenge2023 at gmail.com. Awesome. Okay, so speaking of water, I decided, you know what? Let's just rebroadcast an oldie but a goodie, and that is one of our previous sessions on water. It's a Q&A with Dr. Mercy session where I discuss if you are getting enough water. So since we're on this topic of water, we might as well revisit, just statistics, information about how much water we should be getting. So I decided today, let's just rebroadcast that. Let's just discuss it. So for all those who haven't seen it, feel free to see it now. All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day and rest of your weekend. And until next Friday, uh, Godspeed, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome. Good day. So I don't know if it's afternoon or evening, but good day. How is everyone doing? Welcome to Q&A with Dr. Mercy. Hi, everyone. What a wonderful Friday it is, and I'm thankful that you guys are here with me. So again, this is Q&A with Dr. Mercy. I'm Dr. Mercy Ejianwe. I am here to talk about the latest medical relevant topics. And so for several weeks now, we've been talking about COVID. Hello, Chastity. How are you doing? Good day. How are you? So for several weeks, we've been talking about COVID, and I decided to switch things up a little bit. Hello, Audrey. How are you doing? Hello, Keisha. Hello, Valencia. Hello, Monique. Oh, hi from the U.S. Virgin Islands. Oh, hi. How are you? Good evening, Gloria. Oh, Chastity, that's good. I'm glad you're doing very well. So I've just decided to switch it up and just kind of talk about things that I've observed while working in the hospital. So, hi, Sabrina. How are you? Hi, Mary Anderson. I hope you're doing well. And so I just wanted to just kind of talk about just certain topics that I've seen in the hospital that I thought, I wish I could, let the public know about this. And one of those topics have been water, okay, and dehydration. I thought it was important enough to talk about it because I'm seeing a lot of cases in the hospital. Well, I've been seeing a lot of cases in the hospital that is due to dehydration. So people coming in with chest pain, people coming in with like lightheadedness, passing out spells, which we call syncope, people even having low blood pressure. All of these are, when we do our testing, we find out, wait, all of this is because of water, and just giving them IV fluid, for a couple hours, they're good to go. So I felt that I've been seeing a lot of these cases over the course of my career that I felt that this was one of the topics that I wanted to just talk about. So hello, hi, I'm Menifee, California. Juanita, how are you doing? Hello, Bernadette. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Marlene. Good to see all of you. Cynthia, hello from Oklahoma. Great. And Virginia, how are you doing? So, okay, I just wanted to talk about that. And while I'm on the topics of talking about different things that I come across, I also would love to talk about things that you guys would want to know from a medical doctor. So, yes, I can talk about the cases that I've seen in the hospital, but what I feel is more relevant for you guys is if I discuss things that, that you may have questions about and you may want to talk about, in the next sessions or that we have. So I want this to be as interactive and engaging so that you feel like you've benefited from our discussion. So if you have any questions that you burning questions, medical questions in general, just feel free to write them in the comment section. And if we don't get to them during this session, we'll definitely get to them in future sessions to come. Okay, so yes, it's so hard for me. I wish I could. Oh, yes, it's so hard for me. I wish I could get IV fluids to outpatient to restart me, right? I know it is hard to get water sometimes. It is hard to ingest. And the amount of water that they say that we all require, I've done it. I've tried to do this water challenge where I'm like, I need to be consistent with the requirements. And some days I'm like, wow, it's just too much water. But yeah, I get your sentiments because even me as a doctor, sometimes I find it difficult to do the full amount of daily water, but it's necessary. So let's just begin. Hi. So you're new. Welcome. And hello, Pam from Kennedy. Hello, Pat. Okay, so let's talk about water. And if you have any questions about dehydration, water, if you have any comments on any issues, just feel free to jot them down in the comment section and we can discuss them. So dehydration. So before we talk about that, we talk about, obviously we are made up of water. 60% of our body is just pure water. Just like 70% of the world is covered by water, 60% of our body is just water. So what is the water there used for? Well, obviously, as y'all know, water helps flush out waste from your system. It also helps to, cushion your organs. So, you have the cerebral spinal fluid, which is, when you get that spinal tap, when they tap your spine, what they're tapping, fluids. Anything that's fluid related, there's some water in it. So blood has water, urine has water, even your muscles in between them, it helps to cushion those muscles. So water is very, very, very important, as you guys know, right? And so when you lack water, or when your body's starting to feel that you have gone below the necessary requirement that it needs, it starts crying out to you. And it cries out to you in forms of signs. So these are things that I want us to be cognizant of. So when you start feeling this, you can start thinking, is it because I'm dehydrated? Because for some reason, when I see patients and I listen to their stories, I can, just by hearing it, I'm like, oh, you're dehydrated. But for some reason, they don't realize that. So I just wanted to I want us to be mindful of some of the signs that dehydration can give us. So things of like headaches, so yeah, you may have a history of migraines, but could it be because you have a lack of water? Could be. It could also be because you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, but also keep in mind that water could be the reason why. You feeling lightheaded, especially when you're going from a laying down position to a sitting up position, or when you're getting from a sitting up position to a standing up position, you feel a little woozy. That's usually due to your lack of water. Also, when you're passing out, obviously passing out is not just restricted to dehydration, but one of the common reasons for passing out is because you're dehydrated. So just keeping that in mind. Hello, Karen. Hello, Denise. How are you guys doing? Yes, and it is good to drink water at room temperature. They find it's better that you drink water in room temperature than it is cold water. That's what they've said. But for me, water is water. Just drink enough of it. So getting back, so when you start noticing you're passing out, you're having the headaches, the muscle cramps, the lack of energy, you could be dehydrated. Even things as simple as pains in your aches in your body, some of that could be due to dehydration. So those are the symptoms that you're getting. Now, what are the signs? So the signs of dehydration, just for us to all be aware, I know some of us are aware, but just to make sure we're all aware. The most common sign, as you know, is when you go to the bathroom and you urinate, okay? Your pee, it gives you a great indicator of how much fluid level your body is. The darker the yellow, the more dehydrated you are. Ideally, your urine should be a light tinge of yellow, if not as clear as water. That is what typically you should have. So when you pee, look at your urine and see, okay, how hydrated I am, because that could be a great indicator of how much you need to bump up your water intake, okay? But also what people should be aware, and I'm finding it very interesting that they're not, is that constipation is a common sign. So if you're constipated, yes, it could be because of a lack of fiber, and you may want to increase your fiber intake, but also a lot of it is because of water. So when I go to the hospital, when I'm in the hospital and I'm seeing my patients, they're complaining of abdominal pain and nausea and vomiting, and instantly I think this person's constipated. It could be something else, but the way that I see them, and I see they look dry, and they're having just this vague abdominal pain, and they're having nausea and vomiting. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, of course, I rule out other causes, but one of the causes that I think is dehydration. So when I go and I do a scan of their belly just to look in, sure enough, they're constipated. And what is my treatment? Obviously, it's to give them laxatives, but short of them having any other underlying thing that will prohibit them, I just give them water. I give them fluids. So if you notice that you're constipated, constipation could be caused by lack of water. So bump up that water intake. And then obviously, from a skin manifestation, if you're noticing you're more dry or term ashy, consider, how much am I drinking? Is that contributing to what's going on? Another thing that we do when it comes to skin, another way to find out whether or not you're ashy is by doing this, what they call the skin turgor test. And that is, you take your skin, right, and you just pinch it, okay? Ideally, it should come right back down, okay? So as you pinch it, it comes right back down. That is a good indicator of how hydrated you are. If you are not hydrated, what typically happens is if you pinch your skin, right, and pretend like I'm not holding my skin. I'm just trying to show you what typically happens if you are dehydrated. So you pinch your skin and it'll just slowly go down, okay? It won't go down like this, but you pinch it and it'll slowly go down. If you see that sign, you dehydrated and you need to drink some water. So these are things that, are signs of your dehydration. Another way of knowing whether or not you're dehydrated or not, just in case you don't know, is by sticking your tongue in a mirror. If you stick your tongue out in a mirror and you don't notice the glistening of your saliva or the liquid of your tongue, you don't notice that glistening, I can hear, you see the glistening that I'm doing? I hear. If you don't notice that, you just notice a dry tongue. That is dehydration until proven otherwise, okay? So you definitely want to increase your water intake. So these are the signs and your body is telling you that you're dehydrated. And people may think, oh, okay, it's just water, what, I'm dehydrated, so what? No, dehydration can exacerbate or it can affect your other organs. So not only are we seeing dehydration, so when you're truly dehydrated, you start to, your kidney starts to shut down, your liver starts to shut down. And we see it as physicians that you're dehydrated. So dehydration is definitely something that, although it's very simple as drinking water, it can have some devastating effects, okay? So now it goes to, okay, so if that's the case, then what's the normal water intake? Well, the normal water intake should be, for females, it should be between 2 to 3 liters, okay? That's for an average healthy female, okay? And whereas for males, it should be anywhere between 3 to 4 liters, okay? And if you translate that into cups, for females, that's about 11.5 cups a day, whereas for males, it's about 15.5 cups a day, okay? Everybody's different, some who are, some may require, less of that amount, and some may require more. If you are very vigorously active and you're exercising 2 or 3 times a day, you would, you may need more. Or somebody who, you have underlying issues such as liver disease, heart failure, kidney disease. Your doctor may say, nah, let's reduce that amount. Okay, so it's definitely good. I'm saying all this to say it's good to ask your doctor. But if you're just an average female, average male, healthy, those are the statistics of how much water you need. And if you can't stand water, a lot of times my patients are like, I don't like water, I hate water. Then I always tell them, okay, there's other water alternatives. You can use teas. Just don't try to minimize that sugar intake. Gatorade, you can use those flavor water type thing. Whatever, they have things that you can kind of drink so that you still drink the water, but it's not just that plain water experience if that's what you need. I would refrain from trying to use, a Coke or soda as your water requirements. Again, because, that's a lot of sugar and you don't want diabetes. So that's what I would suggest. So yeah, that's pretty much a nutshell, obviously. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, and when you said how many ounces, I will have to convert that to ounces. But I think let me convert that for you. If you were to say cups to ounces, so you would say 1 cup is about 8 ounces. So for female, if I'm saying 11.5 cups, that is 92 ounces. And for males, if I'm saying 15.5 cups, that's about 124 ounces. So to your point, that's how many ounces, Barbara, that you would need for daily. And so another thing that I wanted to point out when it came to dehydration that I've observed in the hospital, and I'm just saying this, some people already know, but one of the reasons why people come in with dehydration is because they develop an infection such as nausea or vomiting and they forget to increase their water intake during that period of time. Now, I know when you're very nauseous and you're vomiting and you're having diarrhea, you don't feel like you want to eat anything. What I would suggest is when you are having those conditions where you're literally vomiting out fluid, or you're going to the bathroom and increase diarrhea, be very mindful of your fluid intake at that time. If you have to take Pedialyte or Gatorade to kind of try to what you want to do is you want to put back in the fluid that you're taking out. So I know a lot of people forget that. I know when you're sick, you're just like sick and you just want to stay in bed. But be very mindful, whether it's drinking soup, whether it's, drinking water, but be very mindful to equalize what's going out with and putting it back in. So that's something that I want to say. So let me answer some of these questions and see how it is. 8 glasses per day. Yes, for some people, 8 glasses per day is just sufficient. So some it may be a lot, but yeah, the 8 glasses per day is an estimate that people can also use as well. I know a lot of people were talking, I'm sorry, or typing in. So let me see if I can. Okay, see, this is a good, Carolyn says that she freezes it until she has ice shards, then it's more easily digestible for me. Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about water is it comes in different forms. So if you want to freeze it as ice or slushy or something like that and it's more digestible, that's great. Just, we want to make sure you have enough water intake. So that's great. I'm not quite sure why water gives heartburn. It doesn't typically I mean, water is kind of alkalonic, so it shouldn't. It's not acidic. So I'm wondering if it's the form of water that you're consuming. So I don't know if you've tried different forms of water. Even if you're drinking a certain brand, perhaps drink a different brand. That it may just be the type of water you're drinking. So, because it shouldn't typically cause heartburn. That's a very, very rare condition for water to cause heartburn. Hello, Angel, how are you? So Teresa says, how much water should we consume daily? Just like I said, for women, it should be about 11.5 cups daily, which is about 2 to 3 liters. And for men, it should be 15.5 cups daily, which should be about 3 to 4 liters. So cold sculpting, that's a very good question, Vera. And yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about cold sculpting on Black people. That's a very good question. Thank you. We can talk about that at another session. Okay, I'm just going over the questions. Thank you so much, Audrey, for that. Yes, it is really important. I'm just realizing, I mean, it's gotten to the point where sometimes when I am admitting people to the hospital, I'm thinking, man, if they only knew that if they just increase their water intake, they wouldn't be here in the hospital. And all I'm doing for them is just giving them IV fluids. And then then the next day they leave. So I'm just like, wow, so it has been a rather repetitive thing that I've had to do, that I realize that it's a problem that people don't realize just how important water is, and how, when your body is below a critical level, it starts manifesting in some signs and symptoms that make you go to the hospital. So if you can keep it in an adequate water balance in your body, that goes a long way to prevent some of the issues that you can come in with, like kidney failure, liver failure, that sort of thing. So I felt it important enough to talk about. I know a lot of these things you've probably heard about in the past, but it's just for us to be mindful that water does make a difference, as easy as that sounds. Okay, definitely. That's definitely something. Thank you again for another very insightful question. Definitely something we will talk about later. Thank you, Carla. I really appreciate that. I drink of water a day, but my body water on my scale is indicating that I need more water. Well, one of the ways that I would gauge it is I'd gauge it by your urine. I mean, is your urine clear? Is it slight? Is it just have a tinge of yellow, or is it dark yellow or yellow? If it's dark yellow and yellow, then yeah, you may want to bump it up, okay? But if it is like clear, like water, I mean, in my opinion, I would feel like you're getting adequate amount. Again, depending, also you also have to realize if you, this is just for those that are healthy. I know for people who have heart failure or kidney disease or liver failure, they're on a water restriction diet. So they cannot drink as much as the average healthy person can. But if you don't have those symptoms and your doctor has not told you to restrict your water intake, I would the good gauge of how much water you're drinking is, again, from that skin test, and definitely the water, making sure you're not constipated, and even just looking in your tongue and making sure that it's well glistened. Those body signs can help you, give you that overall picture that yes, I am hydrated or not. So yes, I would just be looking at your urine and seeing, okay, what is my urine telling me? Am I hydrated or not? So Stacy, it seems like you said I have muscle spasms and sometimes my body reacts on its own Hard to explain, but it feels as though my body has its mind of its own. My body jumps like I have the jerks now, but I do take a lot of medications and I have headaches, bulging disc in the back, extreme depression, etc. So Stacy, yes, short of being your doctor, it's very hard for me to give you like all your symptoms that you're saying. It could be a number of things. So it's very hard for me to pinpoint one particular thing. Like you said, you have muscle spasms. You also have some issues with your spine, and some issues with your spine can affect your muscle, can affect what you're feeling. So, how much of that is interplay. You're also having this jerking thing. So again, there's just a number of conditions that I can think of in my head that could explain your symptoms. So I'm pretty sure you're connected with your doctor, and if not, I would suggest you just talking to a doctor, and so they can tease out what is connected with what. But again, from this conversation, be very mindful. Can any of this be in relations to my water intake? Because some of it could. You are on a lot of medications that can also cause things too. And that leads me to another point. Thank you so much, Stacy, because I wanted to also clarify a couple of things when it comes to water intake and medications, okay? Another thing that I've also observed, especially when I was living in Arizona, which is, as many of you guys know, is desert, is that depending on the season, in the summer months, a lot of people were coming in for dehydration. And these people who came in for dehydration, the commonality that they had was they were either on a blood pressure medication or they were on a diuretic. And some of you guys may not know what a diuretic is. So just to explain, a diuretic is for people who have conditions that causes them to retain fluid. So when you look at them, their legs may be swollen. They even may have swollen arms. So their doctor or their kidney specialist or their heart doctors may prescribe them a diuretic, which is a pill for them to pee out more fluid out of their system. And by them doing that, that reduces the amount of fluid in their legs and surrounding areas. So what I've observed is that those who are on either diuretics or blood pressure medications, when it is hot outside, everyone is perspiring, they're sweating. And when you sweat, you're losing fluid, right? So when you sweat in excess, sometimes with that fluid loss in your skin, what it also does is it reduces the amount of fluid in your blood. So it causes your normally high blood pressure to be maybe slightly high or even back to normal. But these people, not realizing that, they still continue to take the same concentration of medications as they did when they weren't sweating, which was back in the winter months. And so the medication that normally would have got them back to normal when their blood pressure was super high, now is causing their blood pressure to be even lower, because the blood level is already low because they're perspiring a lot in the heat. So I say all of that to say that when you are on blood pressure medications or on diuretics that affect your blood pressure, be very mindful and check your blood pressure on a consistent basis. When you are either sweating a lot on the outside, you check your blood pressure before you take your medications, or when you have nausea and vomiting and diarrhea where you're just, either vomiting out fluids or pretty much going to the bathroom, just pooping out fluids, you make sure to check your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is normal, you might want to hold off on using your blood pressure medications or your diuretics during that period of time. I do know some cardiologists, especially in Arizona, where it's always hot, really hot in the summer months, they would tell their patients to half their blood pressure medications during the summer months and take it regularly during the winter months. What I say is check your blood pressure if you have high blood pressure or you're on diuretics on a consistent basis. And when you have conditions where you are literally losing fluids, either perspiring a lot or you're, like I said, nauseous and you're vomiting or you're having diarrhea, make sure you check your blood pressure and hold it if your blood pressure is normal or low, okay? That will prevent you from passing out because your blood pressure is low or having to go to the hospital because your blood pressure is dangerously low, okay? And those are some of the cases that we see in the hospital. So I just wanted those that have those conditions to be very mindful of that. And this is a good point. Roosevelt said, can you drink too much water? Because I was told that at one point I was drinking too much water. And the answer is yes, you can drink too much water. It's very rare, though, that you do have symptoms from drinking a lot of water, but it all depends on how much is too much. So if you are drinking 6 or 7 liters a day, that's way too much. And your body can react negatively as a result of that. So it's just best to stay within a certain level. Like I said, 2 to 3 liters as a woman, 3 to 4 liters as a man, and gauge how your body responds to it. If you're excessively thirsty, there may be a reason for that. It could be diabetes. It could be kidney issues. So you definitely want to seek the help of your doctor. But if you're not excessively thirsty and you're just drinking just to drink, then no, I think you should just be mindful and just stay within the normal confines of water intake, okay? So that's what I would suggest. Okay, that's very interesting. Is raw beets safe to eat and influential for heart? Okay, very interesting topic. So this is a good one, and we're kind of at the 30 mark. So meaning we're at the half mark. So we will just I'll just finish up with the rest of the comments, and then we'll go from there. Vera Robinson says, do you really believe in the current vaccines disabling COVID? So thank you, Vera, for that. I highly believe. I think yes. And why I'm saying that is based on my, based on the position I'm in. I'm actually in the hospital. I'm actually treating COVID patients. I've been treating COVID patients since the beginning of last year, since it came to the United States. Since the first cases that appeared around my local area, I've been treating COVID. So I've seen the cases and how they fluctuate throughout the months. And we are seeing a great decline. And this is in Texas. Despite us not having the mask mandate, we're seeing decreases of patients that are coming to the hospital. In fact, the people that are coming to the hospital for COVID are those who are in their 20s and 30s. And that's very interesting because, as you guys recall, those who first got the COVID vaccines were those that were the elderly. So I'm no longer seeing elderly people coming into the hospital and dying. I'm seeing 30s, 20s to the 40s coming into the hospital. And when I ask them, did you get the vaccine? They're saying no. So is the vaccines disabling COVID infection? Well, for my firsthand account, the answer is yes. And also the cases are going low. So maybe in January, I was still admitting at least one patient, COVID patient, a shift, if not more. Now, this past week, I only admitted one COVID patient the whole 5-day shift. So the cases are coming down, at least in Texas. Now, I know in Michigan and in Minnesota, those other states, that's not the case. But I've observed, at least in Texas, that the cases have come down. Now, I pray that they continue to come down. And I don't want there to be a resurgent, as some people are saying that it may happen. But that's just so for me, the only change that has happened has been the introduction of vaccines, particularly with majority of the elderly in Texas getting the vaccines. So I kind of have to say, from what I'm seeing, yes, that it is helping. So we'll continue. I mean, the stories out there, we'll continue to see what it is. But thank you for that. I was once diagnosed as being overhydrated. And again, yes, Marcia, Webster, Shannon, you could be overhydrated. There's many different reasons why. Like I said, it could be because you had diabetes. It could be because it's a kidney issue. It could just be because you overdrank. You could be diagnosed with overhydration. But I see maybe overhydration. I don't even remember the last time I admitted somebody who was overhydrated. Maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. But I see dehydration like majority of the time, if not every shift. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, it's a problem that I felt it was important to share. Thank you so much, Laverne. I appreciate that. Okay, good. Stacy, thank you so much about that. What about those water with like different fruits inside of them? Because I go to Ross and they have these water with fruits and the aloe vera water, and they're so good. So again, I don't know if you're talking about fruit juices, but if you're talking about fruit juices, the ideal water is water. Short of that, because why? Because water is just pure water. You're just getting H2O. Hopefully that's it. We don't want to talk about more in depth. Hopefully your water's clean and there's no issues with it, but that's a pure form of water, just water. Now, if you can't tolerate water, and there's some people that can't, because I hear about it all the time in the hospital that they can't tolerate water. Yes, you could use alternatives. I would just be mindful of the sugar intake because you don't want to have too much sugar. Sugar can also cause you to, it can also act as a weak diuretic, meaning it could cause you to pee out some of that water. And what you want to do is retain it. You want to lubricate your cells. You want that water to kind of flush your system, not in the manner in which sugar does it. That's all I'm saying. So I would be mindful with some of these fruit juices, but yes, if you want to use a water alternative and that's all you can tolerate, then it's better than nothing. That's what I would say. Oh, see, Monique Freeman has said, I've noticed that if I have a dark spot on my face, it clears up fast if I'm hydrated. Yes, if I'm not hydrated, my dark spots would take longer to fade. Great, great. That's great testimonial. So yes, water does affect your skin conditions. The more hydrated you are, the more fresh you look, and the less amount of skin ailments like acne and all that type of stuff that can occur. So yes, hydration is key, especially for your skin. Thank you so much, Monique, for telling us that. Hot beverages, does it make a difference? Ideally not. The best top form of water is just normal temperature water. But if you are drinking hot beverages along with normal temperature, I don't see why not. You just don't want to drink too hot of a beverage. But yeah, you're more so being more concerned with the amount of water that you ingest. Coconut water, yes, I do see that some people do drink some coconut water. Again, that's also good as well. So we are at the, oh, thank you. Oh, that's so good. So your teeth are so beautiful and white. How do I get my teeth like that? It's genetics, girl. It's genetics, okay? But yeah, thank you so much. I've been told that ever since I was in kindergarten. So I guess it's genetics. But I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, and speaking of teeth, what is your opinion brushing your teeth with organic coconut oil? And this is considered alkaline or acidic? Vera, thank you so much for all these really good questions. I really love it. And I love water. It's good for your body. Yes, it is. And as Sheena said, room temperature water, good. Yes, it is. So that is all the time I have. I thank you guys so much for this. This has been a great conversation. I'm going to go back and kind of look at some of these questions. If I'm not able to get your answer to your question, if I haven't answered your question now, I will go back in the comment section and just kind of answer some of those questions. And some of these comments about future topics, please, thank you. I appreciate it, Vera, and others who have asked some questions that we could discuss for future topics. And if you have any topics that you would want us to discuss, please also write them on the comment section. Again, I'm Dr. Mercy Ajanwe. Thank you so much. Next week is going to be Dr. Susan with Medicine for the People. Thank you, BWE, for this platform. As well as Dr. Jacqueline King. I will see you guys in 2 weeks as we discuss another medical relevant topic. Have a wonderful day and have a wonderful week. All right, bye.